Well, Marvin, first and foremost, thank you very much for taking the time out to interview with me, to have this interview with me. I know it's a very busy time, even down, people are staying busy, and I appreciate you taking the time out to speak to me.
No worries.
First and foremost, can you talk me through your background? Where you from?
In terms of where I grew up or family background?
Yeah, your childhood, like your early life.
My childhood, I grew up in Harrow, which is in northwest London. It was myself and my sister and my mum, obviously. And it was great, you know, everything was just about football. All I did was play football. I loved the game and I still love the game. But my childhood was just football. I was just obsessed with football.
Great. I love that. When did you first realize that you wanted to be a football player?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you because it's what I've known. I've always known that was what I wanted to do. I couldn't tell you when that started and where that started. I just always said that I wanted to be a professional football player when I grew up. And that followed with me. Obviously started as a dream, but became my goal and my target. And then, of course, I was able to get there.
All right. So I'm just imagining little Marvin was kicking the ball in the garden or just going outside, mate. And then went from there. That's crazy. Who was your that was the first team? How did like grassroots wise? Who was the first team you played for? It was
a Sunday league team called Belmont United. It was the first team I went to train with because my friend played there from school at the time. They didn't think I was very good, so moved on and went to another team called St. Joseph's, and they didn't have a goalkeeper. And they said, well, this is the only position that we play. So I was like, to be honest, I just want to play. I don't really care where I play. So I went to play for St. Joseph's and played in goal and ended up being quite good. So I stayed there in goal for quite a few years and got to a point where I kept on saying, I don't like playing in goal. I don't want to dive around getting muddy. I never used to get muddy, so I didn't like it. And I said, I want to score goals. I want to play up front. And one game we were winning quite comfortably, and they said, for the last 10, 15 or whatever it was, they said, you can play up front. And I went up front and scored a hat trick. Yeah. And they said, oh, this guy can play up front. He's not too bad. And from there they started allowing me to play up front, and I enjoyed it. Enjoyed scoring goals, and of course there I got opportunity to get scouted later down the line when I was at I moved to another Sunday League team at this point. So at 13 I got scouted for Chelsea, went on trial there. I didn't get signed, but the experience and how much I learned was invaluable. And the next year I got scouted for Fulham and went there and got signed. And obviously that was my journey. That from that point was the start of my journey of being in professional football.
Oh, so Fulham was your first professional club, yeah?
That I'd signed for, yeah.
Fulham, okay. Where did you go after Fulham?
So I got released from Fulham at 16 and I went to open exit trials, which is where every player in the country from academies and school excellences can go to basically play for the opportunity to win a scholarship with all the scouts watching, and I did well, and then got offered opportunity to go to Watford, and I signed a scholarship there, and that's where I broke through in the end.
Yeah, cause I remember seeing you play. I remember seeing Watford. I remember seeing those times. It was Championship, wasn't it? Was that in Championship?
Yeah.
Championship Watford. Okay. And who was on the players you played? Who was up front at the time?
I used to play with a guy called Daddy Graham, who's at Blackburn now.
Okay.
And he the year we played together, my breakthrough year in a sense, he was top goal scorer in the Championship. I think we finished, I can't remember, like mid-table somewhere, but that was the most enjoyable season probably of my career.
Yeah. Of course. Who was the manager at Watford at the time?
It was Malcolm Mackay.
Oh, the Scottish guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Tall geezer, wasn't it? Yeah, right. That's good. And then so you went from there to, was it Middlesbrough later on, or?
I signed for Bolton. At 20, so the year after so I'd been in the first team essentially about a year and a half. Signed for Bolton, who were in the Premier League at the time, for a couple of £1 million, and didn't really integrate. I didn't really get the opportunity to go into the first team and play many games. So that was just how it was. And I was at the club for a year and a half before I went on loan to Charlton. And I went on a season-long loan there, and that didn't particularly go great. But the tail end of the season, I had a new manager, and I scored a flurry of goals. Ended up being top scorer at the end of the season. The year after that, I signed for Burnley, who had just got promoted to the Premier League.
Premier League, yeah. Don't remind me. Was that the time when they beat United 1-0? Were you there when they beat United 1-0?
Yeah.
There was a weird result.
Remember. It probably potentially. I can't actually remember. But yeah, signed for Burnley in the Premier League. I didn't get that much of an opportunity, which is disappointing. But these things happen in football, and was there for a year, and the year after I signed for Colchester in League One. So I just wanted to just get back to be playing and just enjoying playing without the pressure and just with some more freedom. And had half a year there before I got injured, and I missed February onwards of the season. So I missed 3 months of the season essentially, because I had a broken bone in my foot that I actually initially picked up when I was at Bolton, and I didn't actually realize I was in pain, but I didn't realize that I'd actually had a broken bone in my foot for 4 years at this point. So I had to get that fixed, and in the summer of then I signed for Coventry, and that was like a new lease of life really. I was able to go again, and I felt like I was going to kick on and really enjoy it, and the season started going great for me personally, scoring quite a few goals. And then in the January transfer window, I got moved to Burton Albion, who were in the Championship at that time. And for me, I wanted to, of course, keep stepping up and keep improving and keep getting better and going to the next level. At the time, Burton Albion were in the Championship, and Coventry were towards the bottom of League One. So it was
progression.
A great opportunity.
It was progression.
Yeah, it was progression. Yeah. So I then was at Burton. I was at Burton, I think, 2.5 years in total.
Nigel Clough?
With Nigel Clough, yeah. So a year and a half in the Championship. Yeah. Actually, and then a year in League One. And then I don't know. I can't even remember if it was into the first year in League One or the second year in League One, but then went on loan to Northampton. Played a few games. When I went on loan to Northampton, I was actually still injured.
Really?
And I still played. I had
the same injury?
No, I had a knee injury. So I'd been out injured for 3 or 4 months. Yeah. At this point in time, when I went to Northampton, and went in still injured, and I'd done one semi-training session at this point, and went in and played straight away the first game that I'd signed there, like pretty much the next day, and broke down afterwards, and then had another month out. Came back playing, played a few games, and then at that point, I'd already made up my mind that I was going to retire. So I went back, and that was that. And in the summer, I called it a day. That's my football career sums up.
That's it, football in a nutshell. Yeah. Was it football players and their injuries? This is how injuries can just. It's part and parcel of the game, yeah, but it's serious. You said summer, so summer which year was it that you?
Last year, so summer 2019.
It was quite soon. So Burton Albion was your last team.
Yeah.
Right. And they were in the Championship when you finished, right?
League One.
League One. Are they still in League One now?
Yeah.
Still in League One, right? Out of all the clubs you play for, what gives you the fondest memories? Which one?
Watford. Because it's where I came up through the academy, and it's where I enjoyed my football the most, played the best football, scored the most goals, and yeah, I had a lot of good friends there, and I still have these friends with me today as well.
Yeah, and it's near home. It's near where you grew up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it feels, got a sentimental feeling kind of thing. Yeah, all right. Tell me, that's great, Marvin. Tell me about like some of your early challenges you faced as a young black football player.
Just not having the ability to be myself at times. I think personalities are things that get suppressed often in the football industry. You know, being seen as someone who questions authority or asks questions and challenges people.
Yeah.
You get labeled as someone who is difficult to manage or difficult to deal with, or an attitude problem, or at times when you're not smiling because you're focused or serious, you're told that you need to lighten up, and when you are smiling and laughing and joking, you're told you need to take it more seriously.
Yeah.
So for me, that was the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Again, it's like a catch-22.
Yeah.
That thing. Did you experience anything like racism during your early years? Or...
Well, not that early on in very blatant racism. I think as I got older, I experienced it multiple times in stadiums, both in this country and abroad, and on social media as well. As that came into play, that did happen. Yeah.
Okay, right. And how did they affect you? How did you cope with them? How did they affect your mental health?
I didn't really address them at the time. I didn't really address the incidents with myself. I didn't internally have a think and reflect on these situations. But looking back, it did affect me, affected my mental health, and it affected my sense of self-worth. As Black men, that's what we do. We bottle it up anyway, but when called things, and whether it's a name or treated differently, we question our sense of self-worth, and we question ourselves and whether we are right or wrong in a situation. Which, when you're constantly questioning your character, even though you know that what you believe in and think is right, and yet it's being called wrong, that is the internal conflict isn't a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. And what are some of the coping mechanisms you use yourself to deal with that?
At this point in time, writing, talking, reading, educating myself. I've been on a long journey of self-development and self-understanding, and so I think that's the key things really to coping mechanism. The coping mechanisms that I've used have been mostly about understanding who I am and how I can develop and go on this journey.
Of course. And tell me, what were the first signs you experienced, you saw yourself that you experienced with mental health, and what steps did you try to overcome them, or did you take to try and overcome them?
It was the same, it's exactly the same thing. I suffered from depression, and for me, the first thing I did was I just wrote my emotions down, because I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to communicate them in that time.
Yeah.
And then as I tried to come over it and move beyond it, it was just understanding myself and my emotions, sharing my feelings, and becoming more emotionally intelligent in that way.
Yeah. And I feel, because people of that in the public eye, especially football players, they find it, or sportsmen, they find it hard to speak up about mental health, or to speak up about anything that's outside of the game, so it's a good trait. It's a good trait to have, to be able to open up about this, because people look up to you guys, see you as role models. So this is people will be hearing this, and they'll be listening, and they'll be thinking, okay, if this person has gone through this, I'm going through a tough time. They'll take inspiration from this. They'll really feed on that. So that leads me on to our next question. Why is it important for men, as you said, Black men tend to bottle things up, and why is it for men to put their ego aside and speak up about their mental health?
Exactly. Put your ego aside. It's important, because there's a book that I'm reading at the moment by Ryan Holiday called "The Ego is the Enemy." It's true. Because the only thing that stops us from getting help is the ego. The only thing that stops us from being emotional and being vulnerable and asking for help is our ego. And when you look at that, that means your ego is stopping you from getting better. literally. So it's important that to for people like myself, and there are countless other people who are doing a lot and paving the way in that sense of opening up these discussions about multiple things. Because when you have examples that you can look to and say, right, this person is like me, they understand, they're empathetic, and look at the support they're getting, means there is an environment here that means it's a safe space for me to be able to do the same thing. So that's why it's important for me particularly to have that discussion.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And how do you advise people, just in general, worldwide, who lack hope, suffer from depression, and feel isolated, even more so now, during the lockdown period, when they've lost jobs, or they've been put in a furlough scheme, or there's that uncertainty surrounding them? What would you advise them to do? How they go about it?
I would tell them to just search for even a glimpse, just a tiny bit there is of hope. Everybody has a tiny bit of hope, tiny bit of joy in their life. There is something, and just to cling on to it and move towards that light, because that is a calling. There's a reason why everybody has this tiny thing. There's always a positivity. There's always a positive thing to find in any given situation. Always. It's just searching for it. If you just keep looking around and keep searching, you'll find that positive thing, and just cling on to it, and then go with it.
I love that. Words of wisdom, Marvin. We've heard it here. And for you personally, who are some of your inspirations, let's say, going back to your childhood, growing up? And talk me through, like, inspirations growing up. And then
in football, my biggest ones are Thierry Henry and Ian Wright.
Right.
I think growing up outside of football, listening to music, I grew up listening to people like I grew up listening to Jay-Z. I listened to Kanye West a lot. I listened to Kendrick Lamar, like a crazy amount. I listened to people who use their voice and to tell their story, but to empower people. They empower people, and they give people an insight into their world, and allow people that are from the same background as them to see that there is hope. You know what I mean? I think those types of people, even like Jamal Edwards, he's someone I see use as a great example for any young kid coming from a similar background to me that looks like me.
Yeah,
I'm saying he's a person that you should look to. He's it's all great me speaking here. I'm a football player. It's different. If you have a talent, and football's a different industry where you can. It is easier to thrive when you're from a council estate and you're black. It's easier than being in a CEO, being in music, being in boardrooms. Being an entrepreneur. It's difficult to be that. So he's a person that I also look up to, because he's the person that is challenging the status quo, is being different, and is leading the way, and then is showing other people that it's possible.
Yeah, for sure. And people like J. Cole, Akala.
Yeah, massively.
Again, yeah. Just wordsmiths.
Yeah.
It's amazing the way they put words together, and just amazing each and every time. And these people, they don't talk about, a mainstream of subjects that people want you to hear about, or the government to hear about. So it's even more. There's meaning to the words,
Yeah.
So that's
and people buy into it because it's real.
Yeah, for sure. I love listening to Akala every time. He's just amazing. Also, you talk about your football inspirations, but also inspirations like in your childhood, family inspirations. Who do you look up to?
My mum and my sister. The two biggest influences on my life.
Yeah.
And people I look up to most. My sister's 5 years older than me, so she's just a wise person, and my mum is obviously the rock of the family. So Those are my two biggest inspirations.
Yeah. You talked about your background. Where are you from? What's your heritage? Where's your heritage from? Where are you?
Nigeria.
Oh, you're Nigerian.
Mm.
Big on Nigeria. I'm Nigerian as well. I never knew.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was thinking Brothers Unite. I don't know. I was thinking you were West Indian from the Caribbean, for example.
Yeah. I've heard that.
You're fully Nigerian, right? Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Which tribe?
Yoruba.
Okay, you're Yoruba tribe. Okay. I'm half Igbo, half Edo, half and half.
Mm.
Good, that's good. Have you been yourself?
I've been twice to Nigeria when I was younger. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've only been there once. So this year, probably coronavirus doesn't stop the plans. This year, I'll be in Nigeria. I receive it now. I'll be in Nigeria this year. So I only went when I was 3 years old, which is a long time. So I can't remember much. But it's always good to see and to never forget the roots, know where you came from.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk a bit about your since finishing football. I know I've heard that you've started your production company, 180 Productions. First of all, what inspired you to finish because it was your choice to finish your football career early, or was it?
Yeah.
You didn't it wasn't an injury or anything like that. You decided to. What was your thinking behind that? How did you go from football to starting up your own?
I mean, I was just tired of not being as happy and as free as I wanted to be, and the football industry is very suppressing in that sense. And I've had this conversation a lot of times, and I say the same thing. I'm so much happier being outside the game than being inside of it, and the level of freedom that I have now is just it's just two different worlds. And I started a production company because I love film and television anyway, but I love storytelling. That is my biggest passion, I'd say. And the medium of video allows you to do so in so many different dimensions. There are so many elements to it. You got music, you have dialogue, you have visuals, you have you piece that all together, and there's so many different dimensions to a story. You can really bring something to life, and you can really bring so many different layers of emotion. And that's what I love about film. And when we launched a production company a year ago, that was our number one thing. We want to tell stories, and we want to make it look good and feel good.
Yeah. What kind of topics do you cover? Is this anything and everything?
Yeah. So I again, this is a conversation I've had with people and particularly a lot of brands. And I say, in the end of the day, everything, regardless of whether it's a piece of paper, wallet, a phone, everything has a story. Everything came from somewhere, and it's here now. And everything that's in between is its journey, is that story. That is a story. Everything has that. Everything and every person has that.
Yeah. You've is there any other projects you were doing as well when you decided to call time on your footballing career? Was that how was it?
So writing, I write. I've freelanced quite a bit, writing as a columnist for multiple outlets. Public speaking, I do quite a lot. So I speak about mental health and my journey and my battle with depression and overcoming that. And I've done that with football clubs in the corporate world, and I've done a lot of interviews. I'm an advocate for mental health and ambassador for the charity called Calm. I am also on an inclusion advisory board at the FA. So was appointed to that last month, and that's about being able to make the change within the game of football and make it a more diverse and inclusive environment.
Yeah, I did hear about that. That's it's such a way forward, good idea. It's a breakthrough now in the footballing game. You need that from the top level, especially in the FA. You need things like that. You need to put former football players of BAMEs of BAME origin to be higher up, because that's how it will feed down, and that's how things you change the narrative. And eradicate or kick it out has helped, you know, in terms of racism in football. Kick it out has been great, but that as well would help in terms of eradicating, removing racism and many other issues in the game. You know, like, was it difficult? Do you find it difficult to start? You said production is your kind of, you love telling stories, videoing, and that's been so. How easy was it to set up your own production company though?
I mean, I've been doing this for a couple of years now with the two guys I co-founded the company with. One was a former teammate of mine and is a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
So he'd been making music and music videos with our other co-founder, who's a videographer by trade. He went to uni and studied film. And so we decided to come together, and that was it. It wasn't anything more than picking a name and a logo and creating a website, and then getting to work, having conversations with a lot of people. We have a lot of ideas, and it's just about formulating them and getting people to buy into them. And because of the connections that I made throughout my career in football, and that the other guys have as well through in media and in football as well, it makes sense for us to go down this path. And you know, we're quite fortunate in where we've got to so far. Yeah.
So you bounce ideas of each other, put the heads together, and 180 Productions was formed.
Literally, yeah.
Are you based in London?
Yeah.
Based in London. Okay, that's good. And that leads me to our next question. What's your single most favorite? Break it up for me. Single most favorite moment in your career so far as a football player. What was your favorite moment? I'm sure you've had so many.
I'd say playing in the Olympics is probably my best moment, because you know, that's walking out of Wembley, starting at Wembley in the Olympics is probably singly best moment, because I dreamed of playing, you know, at Wembley as a kid. I grew up in Harrow, which is, you know, around the corner.
So stone's throw. Yeah, stone's throw.
For me, that was an unbelievable moment, you know, because 2012, the Olympics, it was a home tournament, and playing for Team GB, you know, being a part of history in that sense is, that was it.
Must be phenomenal. David Beckham was there, so wasn't he?
No, but Ryan Giggs was.
Oh yeah, Ryan Giggs. Okay, David Beckham got rejected, and it was Giggs. That was okay. It was, and the manager Pierce, wasn't it? Stuart Pierce. Yeah. Oh, because it was a mix between Wales, English players, and Scottish. Yeah.
There weren't any Scottish players in the squad.
Scottish.
Just English and Welsh.
Team GB. Okay, English and Wales. Yeah. Oh yeah, Daniel Sturridge. I remember him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was. That's the thing. It was being a home tournament. It must have been amazing to be there and witness. You know, I don't know if we'll get the home Olympics again for a long time now. So must have been simply, and the London Stadium was quite new at the time. Now it's had a few years. It must have been amazing to be there during those times as well.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
And okay, down to now being a videographer, now having your own production company. What's your favorite moment since leaving football? What has been your single most favorite moment?
I actually don't know. There's been a lot of good moments. I probably would say when I found out that we'd won the pitch to film an advert for the FA for the Heads Up campaign, which the advert hasn't come out yet, but that was that was a good moment. So it made me think that we're doing something right. We're heading in the right direction.
That's it. We're making it. We're getting there. Success, progress. Yeah, I did watch that, and it's such a inspirational campaign as well for.
Yeah.
I know Prince William was involved, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's just amazing stuff there. I saw your video of him as well. It's just amazing stuff there. Great stuff there, Marvin. And keep on that. That's inspiring people as well. Young football players, people that like you, that want to become a football player. They see your journey and will be inspired to make it as a professional and go from there. Where do you see yourself in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years, making a lot of progress in the area of production. You know, we will make documentaries, we'll make film, we'll make television series, we'll make short films, we'll make a lot of adverts, we'll make a lot of branded content and thrive in social. You know, we're gonna make a lot of content over the next few years, definitely.
Okay, so marketing, social media, you're going to be all over that. And what industries have you kind of dabbled into in terms of your videography? Which is it? Fashion?
Well, I'm not actually a videographer. I just formulate ideas.
Yeah.
And obviously I run a business as well. So
and you give the briefs to the videographer or
yeah,
the other guy to do. So.
Everything really, from sport to things in society and social change. As I said, we're just storytellers. You know, sport is an easier place to start because we've got a large majority of connections and access. But honestly, we there isn't an area that we probably won't cover over the next few years, I don't think.
Okay, right. Just as long as the main thing is adding value to the audience, isn't it?
Exactly. We want to give the audience a story. We want them to learn something and go on a journey.
Yeah, for sure. As you've been in short films, documentaries.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future you would have films out in the cinema.
Yep, in the next few years, that's the goal. In the next 5 years.
Yeah,
definitely.
That'd be amazing. Next, you've heard it here now. In 5 years, less than 5 years time, I'll be hearing of 180 production. I'll be seeing your films in the cinema. You'll be in Cineworld's audience near you. So that's good. And this may be a tricky question for you, but if you could thank just one person only one for where you are today, who would you thank and why?
I would thank my co-founder, Will, if I'm going to thank one person, because if he didn't have the conversation with me, if he didn't share his music with me, a song that was very personal to him that he'd never showed to many people at that point in time, if he never shared that to me, I would never have shared something that I wrote with him that was very personal, which we ended up working together to turn into a short film, which was the start of this whole journey. So yeah.
Thanks to the co-founder. If you're listening, well, he will be listening, I'm sure, once he sees this. Thanks. What's his name? Just to give him a shout out.
Will Miller.
Okay, Will Miller. And that's great, Marvin. And my final question is, at the Dabby magazine, we love to ask our guests, if you had the opportunity to speak with your old self, what would you say and why?
Forget worrying about what people think and what people expect of how you should be. Be yourself, be honest, be authentic, and be courageous.
Can you repeat that again? Repeat that again. We need to repeat that again.
Don't worry about people who don't listen, or don't worry about people who expect you should be a certain way or to act a certain way. Just be yourself, be courageous, be honest, be authentic, and just do that.
Be courageous, be honest, be authentic, be yourself. Love that. That's the key advice. Got the key tips here. So yeah, we've got that. For anyone listening, those are your key tips. And that's for you. That's for anyone. That's for anyone to be your true self, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you are you, and that's your power. Simple as that. Wow, amazing. Great stuff, Marvin. I thank you so much again for taking the time out for being here with me to interview today. And well, yeah, what's your plans? What's your plan for the next? Well, for the rest of lockdown, we don't know when we'll be.
The same as I've been doing, meetings and formulating ideas and talking to people and trying to make progress so we come out strong.
Good. So I'm watching the football.
When the football comes back, I'll be watching the football. Yeah.
See how Arsenal get on in the next few. It's Manchester City first, not
yeah.
That's what it is. And yeah, well, to United, we've got Tottenham apparently next, and it's Mourinho, so big one.
Big one, yeah.
And it's at not White Hart Lane, the new stadium.
Trafford.
No,
the new White Hart Lane.
Yeah, the new. I don't like calling it Tottenham Hotspur Stadium; it just sounds so basic. Yeah, the new White Hart Lane, I guess. White Hart Lane 2.0, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Oh, that's all good. I'll let you know when it's been edited, and cool. Keep you updated throughout the process, and then when it's on, should be the next few weeks, and maybe on YouTube the next few weeks. But we're working on the end of June, end of June or so timeline. Cool. So yeah, that's great. Lovely to interview you. Thanks a lot again, and it was a pleasure. And I'll enjoy the day. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too.
And I'll speak to you. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah. Cool. Nice one.
No, take care.
Cheers. See you.
Bye.